Today we have a special guest on the podcast, Jordan Poyer, 12-year NFL veteran, all-pro. But more importantly, he's on a conscious path, overcome alcoholism. He talks about plant medicine. He talks about being more present and conscious. Talk about breath work. And we talk about waking up and how we are all one, interconnected. We're never alone. And he shares from a deep place within his heart, from his personal experience. And that is the most powerful thing, is his personal testimony. And he's been to the NFL, and now he's waking up, and now he's sharing his experience. So check out today's pod with Jordan Poyer, sharing his light and sharing his testimony with practical tools that you can utilize along your journey to help illuminate awareness. Check it out. If you haven't heard yet, peptides work. And it's taken me a while to really believe this, but I know it to be true now. I've witnessed so many people's lives being changed and shifted by peptides. There's 15 years of research, that I've spoken to experts that show that peptides work. But most importantly, I'm an experiential psychiatrist. And so I tried the peptides personally for myself. And I'm not talking about research peptides from China. I'm talking about real, straight made in USA from a compounding shop pharmacy, pure peptides, which are short chain amino acids. They're like little light signals in the body. And when you inject them orally or you take them through an insulin needle, it literally turns on certain pathways in your body to produce more energy, all different types of things. You can lose weight with it. You can build muscle with it. You can anti-age with it. You can grow hair with it. There's so many different pathways that peptides can turn on in the body. So I am officially a firm believer, and that's why we started LimitlessLivingMD.com, which sponsors this podcast episode. And so peptides, literally, no matter what you're trying to do in your life, health is your greatest wealth. And there's a reason why the FDA tried to ban peptides, and the reason why RFK said the first thing he's going to do when he gets into office is legalize peptides, because they work. They can help with all different types of health conditions. And we have at LimitlessLivingMD.com created a company. We want to make these affordable for everyone. Pure pharmaceutical peptides delivered straight. You can order it straight from your home. And if you don't know where to begin, we're offering a special free 15-minute consult with a peptide coaching expert who can literally get you on the right peptide, but most importantly, the right dosing. That's really important. There's a lot of people right now being overdosed on certain peptides. So the right peptide, the right dose, ordered from your home, delivered straight to your home within 3 to 5 days with everything you need to get started on the peptides. A lot of these other companies aren't giving you everything you need, and there's clear educational material on how to get started. So if this is you, you're curious about peptides, you feel called to experiment with peptides and get into your best physical health shape, there's a QR code that I've been talking on. Click that QR code, or in the links below, click that QR code for a free 15-minute consult with a healthcare peptide expert who can help you figure out which peptide is best for you, what dose to get started on, and within 3 to 5 days, if that's the route you decide to go, it can be delivered straight to your house. So I'm really excited about the magic of peptides and helping people with peptides, because it's been helping me, and I know that it can help you. So check it out, LimitlessLivingMD.com. Use the code Dr. Lee, DRLEE, for 15% off. New global paradigm of mental health. Let's go. What's up, beautiful souls? Welcome to another episode of the Spiritual Psychiatrist Podcast. Today, we got a special guest, a 12-year NFL veteran. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. But check this out. It was crazy because, I grew up watching football every Sunday with my brothers, right? Literally every single Sunday, And with that being said, though, I saw this video where Brother Jordan Poyer was down in the Amazon, sitting with plant medicine. He was waking up and he was spreading consciousness. And I was like, yo, I want to talk to this brother about his path, his journey, his hero's journey, what he's been through and what he's finding now on this conscious path, also while navigating playing in the modern gladiator sport of today. And not only that, I believe 12-year vet, but also hit the all pro, which means he put in the work, and I respect and understand like the mental fortitude, and I'm sure like some type of purpose you got to have in order to become an all pro in the NFL. So with that being said, Jordan, man, welcome to the show. Thanks for being here.
Man, Samuel, it is a honor to be here. You are a huge inspiration to me and to many others around the world, and I just respect your work and want to continue to share my light and to share my story to help. Like you said, I played 12 years in the NFL. A lot of rocky moments in there. But yeah, I was able to have the mental capacity to become an all pro, a pro bowler, played 12 years. I'm 190 pounds soaking wet. So I played safety for 12 years. Could you imagine a lot of hits, but, yeah,
Damn,
man,
yeah.
I'm here now. And I'm truly blessed. And again, honored to be on this path, with, like minds like yourself. And these are the conversations that I absolutely love to have. So I'm ready to dive in and ready to just, dive deep, brother.
Absolutely, brother, man. And me too, man. Like literally people ask me like what do you for fun these days? And like to sit down with a conscious brother and to mix it up and to communicate, and it's one of my favorite things to do. So I'm super
Absolutely.
grateful. Thanks for taking the time to be here, man. But before we dive into this who we are, where we come from, consciousness and all that is, I want to ask you like when you're like what in as a safety, you're safety, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
you're 12-year veteran safety. I believe you played for the Bills, which is known to
Hmm.
be a tough fucking defensive team in the NFL. They had a bomb ass defense for a while. I'm aware of that. But as a safety, and you got like 240 pack Marshawn Lynch on the other side, who also played for the Bills, and you've got these big guys. You're 180, 190, man.
Right.
Like, and it's like a modern gladiator sport. As a safety, what is like the pinnacle of being a safety? What's the best feeling you can have? What's the like? Is it a hit, a sack, an interception, or like when the team wins? Like, what's been like that feeling for you? Give us that experience. Like probably like 0.00001% of all of humanity is ever going to make it to the NFL.
Yeah, I mean, it's really all of those moments, right? I fell in love with the game because of the team camaraderie. I fell in love with the game
Mm,
because of the big plays, and just the people that I've met throughout this game. I'm thankful for my family that I have, for this game. So this game has meant a lot to me. I love the game deeply. It's not just one thing or
mm.
another, because it all is, it's all one and the same, right? And I fell in love with this game at a young age. My parents, both my mom and my dad, it was football every weekend, and it was just like I said, the game I fell in love with. But the pinnacle of my big play career was probably when I picked off Tom Brady for a touchdown. I picked him off two times,
No
back to
way.
back. Yeah, back to back years. I picked him off one time for a touchdown.
Hold on, walk me
Um,
through this, Jordan. Hold on, walk me through this, man. So Tom Brady, the greatest to ever play.
yeah,
You're on the flip side. What was the situation?
yeah.
Was he on
It
New England? You're Buffalo.
No, he was on New England, and I was in Buffalo, and we were playing in New England, and it was 3rd and 6. They just ran a play on second. It's like 2nd and 8, and they ran a play to get to 3rd and 6, and they tried to go hurry up, and we ended up going into a default call, which is just basically a cover three.
What receiver were you guarding on that play?
We
You
were in a
remember?
zone coverage. We were
Zone
playing a
zone
cover,
coverage.
yeah,
Zone
cover
coverage.
three
Okay.
buzz. So I just got to
Yeah.
drop
Word.
into the hook. I got to drop
Yeah.
into the hook, and for some crazy reason, Tom usually sees the safety dropping deep from the hook, but I read the route. They call it a Zampese route, a follow route, or an Ernie route, whatever system you're in, where you get a one on a shallow and then two breaks on an angle route inside. And I let the shallow pass, and I count from depth, so Tom didn't really see me, and I felt it, and I just jumped in front of it,
Word.
took it to the crib, and like it was such
Yo.
a dope moment. It was surreal, super surreal. I have that ball hung up that you can't even look at because I want to keep that one forever. But
Yo. You
super
you you
surreal
you
moment.
pick
Yeah,
six, the greatest of all time.
yeah, it was
Yeah,
dope.
that's
It was dope.
insane, man. That's amazing.
Yeah,
But I
it
love
was
what you
pretty.
said. Like, there's something about that, like team camaraderie, which I missed. Like, I was never like a pro athlete, but like it was my dream to be a NBA basketball player when I was a kid. But there's like something special, man, when you're in the zone with your brothers. And you're working towards a common goal, and each person is playing their role, and you're communicating with each other, and there's something really cool about that. And obviously you became an all pro. Talk, because like I'm a psychiatrist, so I'm aware like the universe is mental. Talk to me a little bit about mental health football, mental fortitude, and the current state. I mean, there's concussions, right? And mental health is an epidemic
Yeah.
worldwide right now. But like in the NFL, can you talk to me a little bit more about the importance of mental health? What is the current state, and as an NFL player?
Yeah. I mean, where to really start with that? Because I look back at my career, and football was like an escape for me from the real world. Essentially, like there was a lot of stuff happening in my life outside that, again, trying to find my identity, who I am, decisions I was making, the relationships I was in, whatever that may be. But then once it got on the football field, I had the capability to kind of just, it was football. And my life in that time period was football, football, family, football. Like that was how I
Yeah.
thought. And so with that, like, with a lot of, I played with a lot of anger. I played with a lot of, I didn't like this guy, so I'm gonna go come up today. And but within that, like, this is the game of football is a gladiator sport, and you have to
Mm-hmm.
go out there with confidence. You have to go out there with your presence, with your aura, and essentially, like, when you're in that state, call it a flow state. When you're in that state, there's like everything is right. Everything's happening
Mm-hmm.
though exactly how it's supposed to happen. Win, lose, or draw. But like you're in that flow state. You know exactly where you're supposed to be. But it was like that I knew I loved, but then I struggled with that off the field because I couldn't separate my identity as a football player being on the field and then off the field. I had an ego
Mm-hmm.
that, it was off the field. I was a football player and I acted like it. I talked like it. And I look back and that's not necessarily who I was, right? Like, yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
loved playing the game, but then I also didn't know who I was. And so, like, you talk about the mental state of athletes, and especially like, you get a lot of retired athletes. You hear about a lot of retired athletes who struggle after retirement. And, you kind of ask the questions, well, how and why, right? Like, you have all the money in the world, you got everything that you worked for. So how is it that you struggle after? Well, a lot of us, we grew up in that ego driven identity that I am an athlete, and then when that's stripped away from you and you're out in the real world now,
Mm-hmm.
you have to be yourself, and a lot of people don't really even know who they are, let
Mm-hmm.
alone know how to handle themselves in the real world when real shit's thrown at them and they can't use
Word.
I'm an athlete, right, and kind of fall back on that. And so I think, again, if I could go back and kind of redo it all, I guess, I can't. I'm thankful for it all, thankful for all the lessons that came with it, but like if I could go back, I would learn about myself first and then learn how to channel a lot of my negative energy, a lot of the stuff that was happening, and learn how to really, I guess, call it let that go. But part of that was, again, releasing some of the trauma that I had, releasing some of my alcohol issues, and really truly understanding who I was as a human being first,
Mm-hmm.
and then an athlete, right? Because my whole
Mm-hmm.
life I was an athlete and I didn't know the human being part of it. And now I'm starting to
Mm-hmm.
understand, they can go coincide. And if I was younger, I wish that was sent taught to me. I wish I was more aware of that. And again, that's why I'm trying to bring this light, and same with you, because I do believe that this is a space for athletes to become better on and off the field, right? And if we become more aware of our thoughts, more aware of our intentions, more aware of who we are as individuals, as people collectively, and that's why the team game was so important to me, because I felt that togetherness, right? And like
Mm-hmm.
that's who we are as humans. Like we're one, we're together, and when we rock
Word.
together, we're stronger together. And you feel, I get goosebumps thinking about it, because like you
Mm-hmm.
feel that, and that's what I loved about the game, man. And again, that's like why I'm trying to continue to bring us together, because I feel it happening, and I want to
Yeah.
continue to just do that, bro.
Oh man, beautiful, bro. Yeah, and I'm tracking, man, because like from a young age, it's almost like our identity of how that kid receives love. And you're probably like a stand. Most athletes are standout athletes in high school, right? And they're and you get love in high school when you're good at sports, and then all of a sudden your identity starts becoming enmeshed in that identity of, oh, yo, I'm an athlete, I'm a football player. And then you go to college, and then you go to the NFL, and then you're having that camaraderie, and everybody needs that connection. Everybody needs that connection and camaraderie. That's love. I mean, without that we die. But like literally and through all of those processes. But then if your whole identity gets tied up into that, then off the field, when the Sunday lights actions go off and you're off the field, and it's a certain type of love that athletes receive. It's there's a vulnerability and a humanness that sometimes people put a pedestal on athletes, and they're
Mm,
not getting that real human to human connection. And sometimes even once you get there, you don't even know. Like, people are giving me this superficial love, but it's like, the fuck? Like, do they want my money? What do they want
right,
from me, right? And
right.
so you go through this whole thing, and then you're getting your head banged, like literally, like moved around, like 190 hitting
Nah,
Marshawn Lynch on Sundays, you
yeah,
know what I mean?
bro.
And concussions, and then
Yeah.
you come out, and then your whole identity's tied up in that. Yeah, of course, people are gonna have like problems when they retire, but you did something which is very rare, which was I was very intrigued by about 2 years ago. First of all, congratulations to you, because like quitting alcohol for me, I was an alcoholic for 10 years, was probably one of the most difficult things I've ever done, because it's like it covers up this trauma that we want to escape from, and then it also gives us like an inhibition so we can connect in, even though it's not real, like it's kind of like superficial connection, but at the same time it was one of the most difficult things I ever did. And 2 years ago, it sounds like during COVID, you somehow gave up alcohol and started a conscious path. Tell me about this turning point. What was going on, Jordan, before, and then like how did you do that, and then what started happening after you made that decision?
Yeah, well, I mean, first, thank you for sharing that. It's always cool to hear somebody else's sobriety journey. And, for me, it was 10 years of same thing, heavy drinking and, not really knowing that I had an issue until probably 2000 and really probably 2015, 2016, right before I got to Buffalo. And it was the year that I got hurt in Cleveland, and I got put out for the season. And my daughter was about to be born that December, to my now
Mm,
wife of 8 years, but we had been together less than a year. So there was a lot of kind of shit going on in my life that I was not ready for, and I didn't know how to even prepare for. So a lot of, my problems started coming from running away from all of those problems. Probably the first year and a half, 2 years of my daughter's life, I was drinking super heavy. One, because I didn't know about my own career. I didn't know who I was. And then I signed in Buffalo in 2017. And that's where things kind of it was the same, but it was like that was the first time in my career where I finally started getting like recognition, and finally I was a baller. I was balling out, and like football again was my escape. And so like I was play well on Sundays, everybody patting you on the back. I had 5 picks that year. The next year I had 4 picks, and it was like I couldn't do anything wrong on the football field. But like my relationship with my wife, my relationship with my
mm,
daughter, even my relationship with my family was all missing. That was all a struggle. And that it ate me up for so long, to the point where I just would run away from my problems, drink it after I get done with practice. I'd go to the store, grab a 6 pack of IPA, chug it before I went back to the house, and I'd just be at the house for the rest of the day, kind of in my own vibe. And that
mm,
was kind of my lifestyle for a while. It wasn't until 20, I think it was 2019, after we lost to the Texans in the playoffs on this heartbreaking game. I probably drank for like 3 months straight, just every
mm,
day. Didn't matter what kind of alcohol it was. And finally, I mean, long story short, I hit a rock bottom. I was putting my daughter to bed one day, and it was in the morning. It was like 12 o'clock. I was putting her down for a nap, and I had been drinking all morning and put her down for the nap. And I just remember her waking me up and like, "Daddy, like, can we go play?" My wife was not at the house at the time, but my brother
mm,
was. And I was really just paralyzed in the bed. Like I couldn't move. It was crazy. It was like its own like psychedelic awakening, but like with
mm,
alcohol, because like I was there and I couldn't move, and my daughter, or not, I want to say psychedelic, but like a lucid dream almost,
mm,
and I couldn't get out of my body. And I texted my brother and I was like, "Yo, can you come take care of Aaliyah?" And it was like that moment right there that really like sticks with me, because I've never
mm,
met my real dad, and the idea of my losing my daughter, and because of the decisions that I made because of alcohol, that I couldn't put alcohol down. My wife was this close of leaving. She's just my rock. She has supported me on this journey this whole time, and if it wasn't for her, who knows? I might be in a ditch, might be somewhere, but she stuck with me. And I decided to go to AA, and I went to
mm,
AA just on a just a random itch, just like I need to do something. Like something needs to happen. I need to change something. At that time, I was very unaware of my thoughts, of what
Mm,
was going on. There was no conscious awareness, nothing. I was just trying to figure it out.
mm,
AA, my mom had been sober for a year, and she's like, Jordan, just go try to go to AA. And so I went, and when I went, that, just like the ball kept rolling, right? Like I go in there and I hear these conversations from people who have way stronger addiction habits or have been even sober from their addiction habits, telling their stories, sharing their stories. And to me, I'm kind of, my first couple times, I'm sitting in the back like, holy shit, like these people got real life issues and have overcame some real life shit. And like, you're drinking because you played bad. You're drinking because you don't know, what the future looks like with the football. You're drinking because all these variables of the reasons
mm,
that I was drinking. And so, I sat with that for a little bit, and it was like one of the slogans they have in AA is one day at a time. And one day at a time has
mm,
turned into 4.5 years. And, within that 4.5 years, I started to, it was during COVID, my first year of not drinking during COVID. So you can imagine being at the house and kind of still trying to figure out, okay, like, I'm sober now. Like, what the hell do I do? So I started to pay attention to what's going on in the world. You start kind of
mm,
paying attention to what's going on in the world,
mm.
whether it be the division, the politics,
Word.
whatever, the racism, like not even racism, but just the division between trying to separate us against each and put us against each other, right? And I
Mm,
just didn't agree with a lot of narratives, with a lot of, and then obviously the COVID, the COVID, the vaccine, they try to push the vaccine on us in the NFL, and I didn't necessarily agree with that. And it was just a lot of things that kind of started stirring shit up in me that I just
mm.
like, okay, there's something bigger happening here. And then grandmother Aya called me after
Yeah, tell me about that,
2020.
man.
Oh,
Yeah,
dude,
okay.
I mean,
Yeah,
like when
yeah.
she calls and you answer the call, the moment that you answer that call, Mother Aya starts to work with you. And
Yep.
I fully understand that now. At the time, I didn't. The dude, he told me, he's like, yeah, now that you are committed to coming, I went down to Costa Rica for my first ayahuasca
Mm,
retreat. And he's like, now that you're committed, just watch and feel. Mother Eye is going to start working with you. And, now I look back and I was like, holy cow, like there were things that were happening. I mean, obviously, I was a little bit more aware of, I'm going to sit with this medicine. So, like, let's be more intentional about what I eat, what I drink, what I watch, all these little variables. And I went down there and had three beautiful ceremonies, dude, that again, there's a lot of, fought a lot of, I don't want to say fought a lot of demons, but I started to love my demons. I started to love,
mm,
the idea that, hey, the resentment that you have towards your real father, like, you need to love the fact that he even put you into this world, because look at your life. You have a daughter. There were certain things in my life, like,
mm-hmm.
I hated the idea that my dad wasn't in my life. I grew up with a stepdad, Polynesian father, but like I'm black, half white. My mom's white. My stepdad's Polynesian. My dad's black, and then he's black. And just me working as hard as I did to get to where I was at, I hated that he was never even tried, and I didn't realize how much that affected me until I went and sat in ceremony, and sat with those emotions and feelings. And there was a lot of other stuff that came up, obviously, reasons how I was drinking, why I was drinking, what that the people that affected, and it just gave me a whole new perspective on myself, and
Yeah,
started to be able to love myself, dude, and started to be able
absolutely.
to learn about myself. It was like a whole new, it was like starting over. And I was so okay with that. I
Mm,
was like, wow, okay, you are a new, fresh, like conscious body. Like, let's go learn. Like, let's go
mm,
explore. Right. Like, and that's really what I don't ever claim like I know more than anybody, because I don't. At the end of the day, I'm here to be trying to figure it out just like we all are. Right. But I
yeah,
know that there is something here. There's a presence here that we can all get connected to. We could all tap into, like, all of that external shit really doesn't matter. We argue about, again, politics, race, religion, all of these things that separate us. And, we're not separated. We're one, we're together, we're a collective. And, those are some of the biggest lessons that I've learned in my ceremonies. And it's been beautiful, man. It's been a beautiful journey. And I want to, again, spread this. I don't tell people, hey, go do ayahuasca in the jungle. That's not what it is. It was a tool for me. It's a tool
Yeah.
for anybody, right? You are the medicine. You have everything that the medicine,
Mm.
you have everything in your body that the medicine just enhances, right? You do some intense breath work. Go do some beats and breath from Christopher August, bro. Like, and come sit in a beats and breath 15-minute session with me, and then you tell me how you feel after that. You feel me? Like, that's what I'm trying to bring, right? And the plant medicine part, that's each individual's own personal choice. But again, I think our lack of awareness and our lack of education towards it is what causes this, confusion around it, right? And I think we can continue to educate and continue to share our experiences and share, our knowledge of the medicine. I just got back from the Amazon, sat with the Yawanala out there, and most incredible experience of my life, and their knowledge
Mm.
of the elements, their knowledge of the universe, right? Their knowledge of
Mm.
themselves, and it's a beautiful thing. And we're catching up. We're catching up, especially
It
in the
is.
West, right? We're catching up. People are starting to ask questions. People are starting to, you know, want to become better versions of themselves, want to put their traumas behind. And so these are the conversations that spark that light up within each individual. So I'm always excited to have them. So I
Yeah,
can talk
man.
all day, brother. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Fuck yeah. Thanks for sharing, man. And so, like, literally, though, like, this is your hero's journey, and there's so many key moments that I hear you talking about. Like, one of them is the hit rock bottom. And, this, I was like, yo, this is my kid. And, like, yo, like, and then you go see perspective of, like, other people going through some real shit. And you're like, yo, like, and it gives you perspective. And then from there was a decision you made, which I'm telling you, for me, was like the hardest thing I've ever done. I relapsed so many times, but like you went to AA and you actually quit for 4.5 years. And then you said you started becoming more aware. Because when you're sober, you just start becoming more aware. Oh, like there's a political thing going
Yeah.
on. There's like
Yeah.
all these things are happening and they're trying to separate us. And then that all set the path for you heard it's a calling. It's a calling. And like she's got a consciousness
Yes.
and Mother Aya called you to the medicine and Costa Rica Pura Vida. You went down there,
Mm.
man. You heard the call, and that's like a hero's journey because every step of the way you had a choice, right? And that this is not the easy path. It's the hero's
Mm.
path because most people they don't want to know, the truth because it might make them uncomfortable. And yeah, ayahuasca it can get uncomfortable. But the cool thing is, you said you learned how to love your demons and you learned it sounds like in those 3 sessions like there was a father wound which like we all have a parental wound but which was literally the awareness is the first step of change and you're putting awareness on it and saying like yo like oh shit like I wasn't even aware and that's unconsciousness is what was probably driving the alcoholism which was driving the escapism which was driving the anger which not bad it was beautiful because it fueled you to become an all pro and all these other things but there comes a time where you made the choices necessary and provided the sobriety necessary to wake up. And then I love what you're saying because this is that key moment where you can't really explain it in words. You can't explain it in words. But the best words that we can use to describe it is we are all one.
Mm.
Everything is interconnected. Nature, the Yamanawa, us, and everything. And once you know, you cannot not know. And during my first ayahuasca ceremony in Topanga, you know what I mean? Like literally, I was on ayahuasca and like I was a city party boy in LA. I didn't know anything, and like I started breathing with a tree, and the tree lit up, and like there were these neon lines pouring out of me into the tree, into the stars, from the stars into, and everything was like Avatar. I was like, holy shit, everything's connected. I'm never alone. So talk to me a little bit about like, yo, like I hear you say several times, we're all one, and I can hear what you're saying. Like, yo, we're all connected, and you just spent time with the Yawanawa in nature, and literally everything in nature is connected. So talk to me a little bit, Jordan, about Jordan before consciousness and awakening and Jordan after? Like, is there anything that's different, like on the football field, off the football field, as a father, as a brother, as a husband, and just like kind of this path? Like, how is it? Like, for those people who are still kind of out there on the fence, like they're still not awake, and like, what is it like before and after when you start becoming aware?
Yeah. Well, I first want to circle back to your quote. Once you know, you cannot not know.
Yeah,
Because I
yeah, yeah.
actually I wrote that down in my Samuel notes for that, bro. It's the first line up here,
Sick.
bro. Once you know, you cannot. Because I wanted to say that
Word.
because that was one of the things that I've heard you say before that I wrote down, and I was like, wow, that's fascinating because like at first I struggled with that, like with integration, call it. Like you come
Mm,
back and you integrate, and nobody in my family had went and sat with the medicine yet. And so you can only imagine, like, and you've done it, like go sit with the medicine, you get this whole new profound perspective on life,
yeah.
and then you go back to your home and back to your job, and you're like, holy shit, like,
Yeah.
hold on, like, you know what I'm saying? And
Yeah,
so like,
yeah, yeah.
I don't know if I was necessarily prepared for that for the first time. And
Mm,
it took me some time to kind of get back in the rhythm of myself, even after I would say kind of losing myself a little bit after like this whole new shit. And I come back and like I'm trying to have conversations with people like, yo, like there's some
mm,
shit going on in the world now. Like let's kind of, but like I realize
yeah.
it's not, that's not how it works, right? And so
Mm,
everybody's on their own path, everybody's on their own journey. The only way that I can share this message and spread this message is in being the light, being showing people the way, right? Like,
mm,
and one of the biggest things that I've changed since going with the since coming back from the medicine is I'm a lot more intentional in my conversations that I have
mm,
with my
mm,
wife, with my daughter. For example, I used to come home from work and, I'd come home from a long day of work and I'd just go sit up on the patio and watch my film and kind of just zone out and watch my film, get ready for the next day. And then by the 2 hours later, I'm putting my daughter in the shower. I'm like in this routine of just like that. Instead, now,
mm,
like, I'll come home. Hey, babe, how's your day? Do you need my help today? Hey, Leah, how was school today? How do you know you want to go fish? And like, just like those little things, and like, even such
mhm.
little things like picking up my laundry, not making my wife like put it in the laundry basket, right? It's so subtle. It is so subtle. And I know it sounds so silly sometimes, but those little things, those little intentional things where you put your energy, where your energy goes, energy flows. And so like if I wanted
Mhm.
my relationship to become better, I needed to put more
Mm,
energy and more intentional energy into that. And ever since then, my relationship has become better. Like me and my wife have extremely amazing conversations, and we're
mm,
so connected on such a deeper level of understanding with each other because she knows where I come from, I know where she comes from, and it's no more like, it's again that separation piece, right? Like the world wants us to become separated. It's why there's all the distractions. It's why there's all the stuff going on over there, this stuff going on over there. And again, like, me just being more intentional in my relationships, more intentional in, again, like if I'm with my daughter, like I'm with my daughter, we're playing. I'm not on the phone. If I'm with my wife having a conversation, I'm not scrolling through the conversation. Like it's the intentions behind it beforehand. Again, I would just unaware of anything. Just, hey, Rachel, how's your day? Oh, it was good. And as I'm sitting here scrolling, reading some other shit, and that is not like the connection that I want. And that's what part of me feels like why my relationship has gotten so much better is because I'm now intentional. And even with the people that I'm around, right? Like just my brother, my mom. If I can continue to become the best version of myself, how do I do that? Is being myself, my most authentic self in each moment because that's all we have. So I
yeah.
try to do my best to live in this now because yesterday's gone, tomorrow's never gonna get here. And, if I can be intentional with this right now, it'll just continue. The universe just continues to answer.
What's up, beautiful souls? The rapid 12-strand DNA activation. Activate your inner Christos. Activate your 12-stranded DNA. All of the techniques have been split up into bite-sized chunks with homework reading assignments to help you understand the eternal life wisdom. And we've literally put this online in the Eternal Life Tribe community on School. So you're not only going to get the rapid 12-strand DNA program, and we're having people have massive shifts through this program, literally aligning you to your highest timeline, eventually aligning you to your highest spiritual destiny. And it's all online in the Eternal Life Tribe community on School. We just won the School games, which means for category self-improvement, we've been, how can I say, we won the month. We had the most signups. And then not only that, our churn rate, people signing, like stopping the program and leaving, is super low compared to the normal average. So there's something that's happening on the tribe in the School program that is working, that is shifting lives. Not only that, though, you're going to get bi-weekly live Q&As with me, which means that sometimes the eternal life wisdom, it's a lot. It's a lot of wisdom. It blows away your paradigms. You have questions. I'm going to be there 2 times a month to answer all of your questions, to make sure that you have the accurate information to begin remembering your 12-stranded DNA, your avatar Cristo self. We also have free guided meditations. And one of the most exciting things is once every month or two, we do powerful online breathwork sessions at home, and people are shifting, people are remembering. And once you remember and you shift yourself, then you start activating for Mother Earth. And that's starting to happen. We're starting to heal Mother Earth. So check it out. Everything that I've ever learned is 10 plus years working as a psychiatrist, all my favorite supplements, everything is on there. Literally the school online community, Eternal Life Tribe. Click the link below, or we'll also send you a QR code to the school community. And if that's on the screen right now, you can click the QR code, check it out. Eternal Life Tribe, school community. And I hope to see you on the Eternal Life Tribe. As a psychiatrist, I'm listening. I'm like, yo, like it's all connected, because when you sat with the Aya, there was like this inner child in you, which somehow you became aware of. You weren't even aware that, like, yo, I was this affected by my father, and I didn't even know that. But as you started healing that inner child, which is always there, next thing you know, you're being more intentional and present with your child. And
Mm-hmm.
then it was that like unconscious trauma, which literally for me too was driving me to cover it up, that hidden pain, which I wasn't even aware of, with alcohol, which was making me unconscious, which was making me not present. And these are actually the little things that I love. Like the big things, great, like cool. Like you have that moment where you become one with everything. You feel it once you know you cannot unknow. But these little translations of coming home. And because I've healed more of my inner child, yo, like I'm more present with my kid. Like I'm present, and like I'm more intentional with my brothers. I'm more intentional with my partner. And that's the like for me, those are the huge things in life.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the big things in life. As I heal my inner child, then I'm more present with my own child. And that's passed on from generation to generation to generation. Because if I didn't heal it for me, guess what? My little kid, as I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
be absent with him, he's going to pass it on 7 to 14 generations. And so there comes that moment where it's like, yo, like I'm healing for my ancestors and I'm healing for my children. And that's interesting that you said, like, yeah, because when you come back, the first time you come back, you're like in this zone where you're like, yo, like this is happening. I'm starting to wake up. They're trying to separate us right now, and I
Right.
see, I see behind what that they're trying to do, and we're trying to like. There's like this moment where it's like kind of like pissed off a little, because you start understanding everything you've been told from the media and all that shit is a lie. It's not even true. We are all connected and we are all one.
Mm-hmm.
And that it's really cool to hear how your process there with your family, and being more intentional with them and being present with them. Your intention attracts whatever it is you're attending. Talk to me a little bit more. I know you mentioned our mutual friend Christopher, and breathwork beats. Talk to me a little bit about breathwork, because like that was a huge thing for me too, right? Like learning how to breathe. Nobody taught us how to breathe. Now that
Right.
can help you with like presence. It can help you with football. It can help you with anything. Talk to me a little bit about breathwork and your process with that.
Right. And that's something that I wish again was like introduced to me or taught to me at a younger age as an athlete, because I do believe that that is a modality that everybody should have in their repertoire and
Mm,
have and be continuing to practice, every day, because one, I mean, it puts you in such a great place, and you can connect. Like when I came back, I would meditate,
mm,
and I used the Deepak Chopra app for probably, and I was so in it, like 300 and
mm.
like 60 days straight on the Deepak Chopra,
Damn.
just meditate. No,
Word.
like I was in it,
Yeah.
and there was a lot of times where like as I practiced that, though, like. And now that I've done breath work and intent, like I'm not getting places because I'm still practicing, I'm still learning, and sometimes like, okay, just sit here and listen to the voice. Like, okay, that's just like it's like when somebody used to tell me to pray, when I'm my alcohol issues, like, yeah, just pray to God, he'll answer your prayers. Okay, okay, like, dear God, please let me stop drinking. Okay, let me go about my day. But like there was
Mm,
a connection that with breath work that I felt on that I hadn't felt on any other non psychedelic modality. And really, you can go as deep as you want, you can go as light as you want, and that's what I like about it. Because if I
mm.
just need a nice little reset and do 25-30 minute breathwork session, like, okay, boom, like, let's go. If I just need a
Yeah.
quick little activation, like, okay, like in the morning, like, let's go, quick little activation, get my blood flowing, get my mind going, and connect. And like, okay, let's go about my day. That breath work has allowed me to connect on a deeper level, and that's something that I also am trying to build workshops for athletes in particular to use this practice before games, before they go to bed at night, before, when they wake up in the morning. Because again, this modality, and I don't know the whole science behind everything, but I know, again, our bodies produce dimethyltryptamine, the DMT, and through breath work, you can produce that DMT that essentially allows you to connect to, call it your higher self, and to connect to that quantum field. And the more effort that you put into it, the more intentions that you put into it, the more you get out of it, just like anything we do in life. And so,
Mhm.
I do believe that it has a huge place. I believe psychedelics have a huge place, but also these modalities have a huge place in sports within the next 5-10 years. But again, for me, breath work has been a huge component, and I love practicing it with other people. And again, I
Yeah.
tell people, like, look, it's not about the psychedelics. Like, you already have everything in you. Just
Hmm.
sit and do this breath work real quick. And Chris Ragas, he showed me that beats and breath last off season. So I incorporated it into my practice during the season. And, it's just super helpful to just reconnect, and allows me to go to a place that, it works for me.
Yeah, and that's, you just laid it out, man. Like there, if there's one thing you can learn on planet Earth, you know, is I suggest, I don't know if you'd agree, but learn how to breathe.
Mm. Yeah, I mean,
Literally, like nobody
you
taught
would
us,
think we
right?
know how. You would think we know how, but
Yeah,
we don't.
that's what I'm saying. Like, and like you pretty much just said it. Like with your breath, you can release DMT, go on psychedelic journeys. With your breath, you can release trauma. With your breath in the morning, you just want to pick up a complete nervous system reset, biological
Mm,
reset. You can do that in 25 minutes.
hmm
You want to go to bed and relax your nervous system at night. You can do that. There's a breath for every single thing, and the mind will follow the breath, or the breath will follow the
Follow
mind.
the mind.
And if you master the breath,
You master
you'll
your
master
mind.
your mind. You master
Master your
your
mind.
mind, you'll
Master the
master
universe.
your world, the universe. Because the
I heard you say
universe
that, bro. I
is,
wrote that shit down
yeah,
too.
bro. The
You
universe
can
is
tell.
the universe is mental. The universe
Yes,
is
it
mental,
is.
right? And
Universe is mental.
yeah, and so, bro, you're doing it, man. And I think like it's such an important thing. Like, and I can't even imagine, like, and I know you're sharing your light and your platform now, but like, if athletes really had access to learn how to breathe from a young age, I mean, I can't even imagine, bro. Can you imagine like
I
the
can't, bro.
potentiality of certain athletes if they understood like the consciousness, and they understood breath work, and and this is like people like for example Novak Djokovic. He gets it. You know what I mean? He's the
Mm-hmm.
best because he understands the mental component, the breath. Like I think like Aaron Rodgers is pretty conscious, right?
hmm
And it just gives you this advantage, like because you understand the body, you understand the mind, you understand the breath, and not only that, you become more aware in that flow state that you were in when you made that pick, right? Once you're aware of your breath and you can fall into flow state easier, you did that 25-minute breath work before. I mean, this is not only for mental health, for releasing trauma, for being more present with your kids, for being more aware of what happened in humanity, to being more aware of using your platform to help other people heal. But it's also, you can also use it for, to perform high performance, right? And so
hmm
I'm curious, man, like, I know before there was like a lot of anger that was driving you as a safety, which it's not bad, but like you can transmute all energy into whatever it is, and you became an all pro with it.
hmm
How is football like now? You're doing breath work. Now you're more present with your kids. You're not coming home and just chugging a 6 pack, and you just got back from the Yawanawa tribe. How is consciousness on the other side with football, which is like a gladiator sport in America?
Yeah, that's a great question. The year that I stopped drinking, that I started to become more conscious, was the year that I became a Pro Bowl or All Pro. The year after
Really?
that was the year that I sat with the medicine and became a Pro Bowler.
Hmm.
I didn't have as good as a year after I sat with the medicine, but I still became a Pro Bowler, which is pretty cool. But it's always a fine line, right? Because
Hmm.
the NFL and the system of the NFL, it's there to, like I said, football, family football. And so, like, it's like when you're in it, I look back when I was in it, I was in it. There was nothing
Hmm.
else going
Hmm.
outside of the world, outside of this football, right? And
Hmm.
as I kind of started to see, like, look, there's more you are more than just a football player, and there's more to the world than just football games, right? Like, yeah,
Mm,
I worked extremely hard to get to that point in my life, and I've been super blessed to play the game for a long time. But coming to the realization that that, yeah, one, I am more than a football player, and two, like, there's more, like, even this game itself is a system within the system, right? And
mm-hmm,
I struggled with that for a little while, right? Because I struggle with me being in this system, being part of the greater system, and like,
mm-hmm.
I have a feel like this is $1 billion industry, like to think there's not hands in this that pulling strings here and there. I look back at the whole COVID situation and the way that they tried to force the athletes to, it's like the shut up and dribble slogan, right? It's like, okay, you come
Mm,
out here and you play, and
mm,
you don't say anything, just shut up and dribble. And it's like, okay, well, why is it like that? Well, because athletes have a lot of influence, and athletes, if
mm.
one major athlete, like, just start coming out and talking consciousness, like, more athletes are going to come out and do that. That's what Aaron Rodgers did, and now
Yeah,
look at where I'm at. Like, I'm here talking consciousness too. And so, but again, people want the athletes to stay in that little box. They don't want athletes talking politics. They don't want athletes talking consciousness. It's like, you get paid to go play the sport. And I didn't sit well with that, because I knew there was stuff going on in the world, but anytime I felt like I needed to express how I felt what was going on in the world, it was the shut up and dribble. And so
mm,
I struggled with that for a little while, and I even look back, like, it is its own system, and if you're in it, you got to be in it. And
mm-hmm.
I don't know, to be honest, after 12 years, bro, I got a shoulder, I got some fingers messed up, bro. Like,
Yeah,
I'm kind of good, bro. Like, I'm good off of
yeah,
going out there and having to hit a Marshawn Lynch again. But if I had to, like, I would, and I would understand, the state of mind that I need to be in. And even, you go to work, and the game is the game. But then it's like, okay, you go in the locker room, the music that's playing in the locker room,
word.
and
Yeah,
then
it's
the
a culture. Yeah,
conversations, that are the culture, and the
yeah,
conversations that are being had, and you just know, the energy is just, it's not where you feel like, it wasn't where I felt like my soul, like, it was like, okay, my soul did its time in the NFL, and it built the platform to now have this platform right here to now, because I just didn't feel especially in last year in Miami. I had been in Buffalo the last 7 years, and then, they end up releasing me. I go to Miami, and that culture was just way different. But I learned, like, I look back and I'm so thankful for the experience, because I learned so much. And, my soul needed it. As much as there were days where I was like, man, like, fuck this, like, this
yeah.
shit is crazy. Like, the conversations again we're having, the music is being listened to, just the negative energy. Like, I just didn't want to be a part of it, right? But again, it was part of what I needed to go through to continue to have a better understanding of myself. And it's tested my spirits for sure. But again, I'm thankful for it all, brother. And I don't know if I'm gonna play again, to be honest. I just finished my 12th season, and I'm happy. I never won a Super Bowl, which is, I don't really care. But I came from a small town, bro.
Yeah.
I graduated 112 kids, and to say that I played 12 years, I'm super blessed. And to have the platform now to shed my light and have conversations like this, I'm even more blessed. So, but yeah, the game's done really well for me, bro. The game's done well.
Yeah, man, and that's like a journey, and I hear you, bro. Like once you understand the system and the rules of the game, and like it's like, we saw this with Kyrie, right? We saw this with people who are woke, when you're in the system and you're woke and you understand the rules of the game, and you have a voice, and you are a warrior, and you want to stand for truth, and you want to stand because the truth will set us free, and you become aware of all these things, then it becomes this kind of like interesting space that you're in, because like, yo, I get it, I see the system, I'm more than an, and then you have these experiences in ayahuasca and in breath work where you're like, holy shit, it's all connected, we're all connected, and you
Yeah.
expand your identity. I'm more than a football player, but the system wants to keep you in a box, a frequency fence. Nah, man, you don't talk about things outside of this, or you don't talk about things outside of this, right? And it literally, all the soul wants is to be free, right? The soul just wants to be free. You can't fit a soul in a box. And the crazy thing is, like, literally, like, the only thing what everybody really wants at the end of the day is freedom. It's not, they don't want money. You can get 6 Super Bowls and you can have all the money in the world. I used to work with celebrities down in LA. You can have everything you want in the world, but there's literally a hole. It's not going to be filled with. It doesn't matter how much money you put in there. It doesn't matter how many awards you put in there. The only thing
Absolutely.
that can fill that hole is your own soul. And it's like the missing jigsaw piece puzzle, and the system has been set up where it's like, yo, like, nah, like, the system, nah, you just shut up and play whatever, right? But like, and so props to you and kudos to you, because I feel like you're following you've expanded into your soul identity, and now you're choosing to follow your soul identity while you're maintaining gratitude for your path and your journey, which has led you up until now. And the end path of all spiritual paths, doesn't matter what it is, it's service, like using
Mm,
your platform to, and I truly believe that everybody has a unique hero's journey. So everything that you've been through, I feel like in my life it's been true. Like every single thing I went through, every single psychiatric problem I went through, every addiction I went through, and then I became a psychiatrist. I learned the system is fucked, and then I learned the system is fucked, and I started like, healing myself through the hero's journey, breathwork, yoga, ayahuasca, all these different things.
mhm.
And then eventually, once I understood, like, then it was a divine setup for what was to come. Oh, okay, cool. I get the system. I've been there. I've been hit. I've been, suffered through that. Now, what are the things that really? And I quit. And I quit my job as a psychiatrist. And then I said, yo, like, let me focus on shit that really works. And because I've fucking been there, and I know what it feels like. This is personal for me. Okay, like I get the rules of the game too. I can't just come out here and just start rapid firing at everybody and like doing all that. But like it's like I understand the rules. Okay, cool. Like how can I utilize this platform now to help people through what I've been through? And like it's like the hero's journey where everything you've been through, all pro, 12 seasons, alcoholism, and then waking up and consciousness, and then now understanding the system and what the system is, to utilize your platform and your voice and the tools that you've picked up along the way to somehow give back, whether that's to other NFL players, whatever that looks like. And so I know you have a platform right now called Illuminate. Tell me more
Yeah.
about Illuminate, man.
Yeah, Illuminate is a conscious community that I created after I sat with my mother in 3 ayahuasca ceremonies. So I
Mm,
went and sat in 2023. She thought I went far left and far off the wall. And when I came back and I explained to her my experience, and it was probably like 5 or 6 months after that. After having multiple conversations, she was like, "Okay, I'll go to Costa Rica and we'll go sit with medicine." So I ended up bringing her and my brother, a couple friends, and
dope.
we went and sat and had 3 beautiful ceremonies. And it was the hugs that I got from her after those ceremonies, after
Mm,
each one. I've heard, I mean, I hadn't seen her look me in the eyes like that since I was probably a baby, and like
mm,
just tell me how thankful she was for being there, and how thankful she was for me for taking that step and guiding her to this space. And so like,
mm,
especially the last hug that I got from her, her crying on my shoulders and just saying thank you, and
mm,
like that motivated me to, and I knew right then and there that I needed to do what I can to help spread this awareness and spread this word of I don't even know what to call it, but there's just spread this knowledge of awareness and educate and build help build the collective consciousness, because that's the only reason
yeah.
I feel like what we're here to do. You're talking about like the experiences, all of our stories are unique in its own way, and like I believe we all need to share them, because that's how we
Mm,
learn and grow from each other. That's how we evolve. And again, that's that separation piece where it's like they want me to feel bad about my story for being an alcoholic, and so like I feel bad about my story now. I never express how I feel, and so now that I never express how I feel, I'm just kind of in my own box. And so that's like the cycle of, we need to share, we need to be vulnerable, we need to have conversations, and, because that's how we grow, like through these experiences, through this connectedness, through this togetherness, because we are all one. Like we all have, call it problems, but like we all have problems. Everybody does. And some are, call it bigger than others, but like at the end of the day, we can all learn from each other's problems. And so are a conscious community that helps raise awareness and bring the inner light to individuals. So we host events. We've had 5 events. I don't know if I don't know if you've heard of Free Soul, one of my favorite artists. He's a a rapper, rap
Yeah. I know Free
spirituality.
Soul. Yeah.
Yeah, so he came out to one of our events at the W
Dope.
Hotel in South Florida where we serve cacao, we do yoga, deep breath work, meditation, and we go pretty deep. And a lot of
Fuck
these
yeah.
events, I don't know if you've seen online or not, but we have, 35 to 50 people at these events. And again, it's just being able to go deep and connect. And I've had people who've been in the medicine space their whole lives and people who've never, stepped foot in a ceremonial or medicine space because we hold it ceremonial style. So like, I mean, we have
Word.
fire, we got, the gong, we got everything set up like it's ceremonial
Hmm.
style. And, people from all walks of life, it's even those hugs that I get after those events that continue to
Yeah.
motivate me to be like, okay, like you're doing something, right? Like, and I don't know necessarily, the big picture at the end, but like, each hug that I get is like enough that I'm like, okay, like let's keep doing this together, right? Like
Sick.
let's keep doing this together, and I get goosebumps thinking about it because we're in that shift right now, and I believe
Hmm.
like all of our voices and all of our as much as we can be together is important, and your
Yeah.
voice, my voice, Christopher, Sean Clayton, so many voices out there are starting to spread this word, and people are starting to come together, and it's such a cool feeling, and it's such a I remember who I was having a conversation with. I was like, when's the last time you like woke up to some good news, like when you woke up to something on the news or on Twitter or whatever, and so they said, hey, yeah, we the I don't know, the war's over, we shook hands with here, we did this, and like it just doesn't happen. And so like I mean, I don't even worry about that, but like I worry about people, like individual people, and I want
Mm.
to just continue to connect. And so I've also built a 501c conscious living where I had to say on Illuminate, we don't talk psychedelics. I have to say that. My 501c is we
Yeah.
gained our church status to where
Sick.
plant medicine is part of our sacrament to help us connect to the divine. So we're
Which plant
building
medicine do you? What's it called? What's the church called?
conscious living.
Conscious living.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
we have ayahuasca and psilocybin
Sick. In
on our
Florida?
church in Florida. Yeah, and we can actually
Yeah.
use it. We can actually use it in different places. So like, there's a strategy behind it, because I mean, bro, there's 3 states right now that legalize it: New Mexico, Colorado, and Oregon. But with a church status, you can essentially use that to present like this is what we believe in, and so
Yeah.
you can't really do anything about it. It's just kind of another loophole because again, everybody wants to say, oh, we need scientific evidence about this. We need more scientific evidence. The scientific evidence. You can go to the Amazon. Go to the Amazon for a week, and then come back, and that's all the
Yeah.
scientific
Yeah.
evidence that you need. Go talk to Chief Skukwa, and he will teach you from A to Z each plant in the damn forest and what it does, how it like. It's fascinating the knowledge that they know
Yeah.
about the
Yeah.
forest, about the elements, and so again, like I'm trying to do what I can, bro, to be a light. So I created that conscious Illuminate first, and then Conscious Living Network, my 501c nonprofit, to be able to again eventually hold retreats. We have our first retreat in Colorado in September, ayahuasca retreat where our shaman Costa and David will be coming from the Amazon, which I'm very excited about. And yeah, man, it's been fun. It's been really fun to build.
Fuck yeah, bro. That's amazing. Yeah, you already given back, man, and it hasn't been that long since you woke up. You already made the church. You're holding the events, and you got some like dope technologies because like like, you said you're not I'm just doing it, but it's like yo, you're doing sound healing. If you want to heal anything, go to where it first started. Sound and breath is like the most powerful way.
Hmm.
And you said like I don't even know, but you do because illuminate is that's what it's all about. It's
Hmm.
literally about just illuminating. And what does that even mean? Illuminate darkness is just the absence of light. And if you're dark, it's in darkness. It just means you're not aware of it. So as soon as you increase awareness around it, like it's not a shadow anymore. It's in the light. It's in
Yeah.
awareness. And so you're literally illuminating people. I love what you're saying. Like, and the fact that you got to, man, that's really cool, man. Like you would drop in with your mom.
Yeah.
Like I feel like on Earth, like for me, like that's one of the coolest experiences I feel like any human being could ever have to drop into ceremony with your mom and then
Yeah.
to be able to receive those hugs. I mean, it's beyond words. It's like that's
Yeah.
a magic moment that's the reason why a lot of us come to Earth. And then now you're spreading this in South Florida, and people literally are coming in. and having the experience. And once you know, you cannot not know. And
Mhm.
once you're aware, you cannot be aware. And cool, you started the church too. And so all the tools that have helped you, you've started to form different processes to help them. And I love that you say, like, it is at the end of the day, it's about connection, which is love. Love is connection, and we are all one. And that's the essence of it all, really. And so, man, kudos to you for following through with that and doing it. And you're doing it. With that being said, Jordan, there's little boys out there wearing a Buffalo Bills jersey. There's
Yeah.
your fellow colleagues out there who are drinking a 6-pack on the way home. There's fathers out there who have a wound, who their little child doesn't even know. And, just, what message do you have? I know we're not out here to preach or anything like that, but like, what kind of message do you want to send to your NFL peers? To that little boy out there training to be a football player, obviously you've done that, you've been there, and from where you're at now, like, what kind of message do you have for these type of people out there?
Yeah, I would say really for yourself, I would take that time every day, block off 20, 25 minutes, whether it be in the morning or at night, to really sit with you.
Mm,
And I'm not telling you to do breath work or meditate, but just, I mean, just maybe even just gaze and just sit with you for that amount of time, and learn about yourself.
mm,
I think the more we learn about ourselves, the bigger impact that we have on the world, because then we can continue to, we know when we're not being ourselves. And so when you have that awareness, if you're not being yourself, you can kind of come back to center and reground yourself. And I'd also encourage everybody to be in somewhat of service. I always tell people, like, go tell someone you love them, go give someone a hug, go to a community center and, share your services, or just ask the old lady at the grocery store if she needs help, and or ask her how her day is. And, I would encourage people to engage in, meaningful conversations, a lot more. Again, I don't like talking about absolutely nothing. I like having meaningful conversations.
sure.
How are you? See somebody, hear somebody. And, if you're struggling, with addiction, know that you're not alone. Know that it is okay. It is more than okay to ask for help. And know that if you need, you can always reach out to me, via DMs. I usually try to my best to answer as many mental health messages as I can, because it is important, to be seen, to be heard, to know again that you're not alone in this fight, and that there is help out there for you. But I love everyone. And I appreciate you, brother. This has been super, super cool to be on here. I had a quote that I saw the other day. When we were talking about psychedelics, it said,
Yeah.
"Those who use psychedelics with respect find awakening. Those who don't find confusion." And that always has sat with me, because, again, we're in these times right now where, like, people are looking at psychedelics in this way, right? Okay, you're gonna look at it like, like they were taking them in the 80s, right? And I've heard you talk about it before. It's like, using these medicines with intentions, with purpose, and with, the right people, the right the right settings. And so,
Yeah.
those are all important aspects. And that's the same with your breath work, your meditation. Go into
Yeah.
these modalities with the intentions, with the purpose that you want to get out of it. And, again, just continue to learn about yourself. And continue to grow, learn, evolve, adapt, because that's what we're here to do, brother.
Absolutely, man. Yo, that's fucking it. Like, I couldn't resonate more than with what you just said, which is have a daily practice. Sit with yourself, self-awareness. The more you love yourself and aware of yourself, the more you can love someone else. And that is the key, is the inner
Yeah,
connection, the connection. It's everything, man. And so, like, you can only love someone else as much as you love yourself, and develop a daily practice where you're spending
yeah,
time with yourself, whether that's through breathwork, meditation, whatever modality or tool that you have, journaling, or, a shout out to our friend Christopher August, who has a app called
yes,
Breathwork Beats. Shout out Breathwork Beats. Download that on your phone. Um, yeah, and go check it out. If you're in South Florida, Jordan's hosting Illuminate events.
yeah.
sound healing and breath
Yeah,
work.
yeah. Check us out,
Mm.
illuminate.mbs on Instagram. And we usually hit the follow back button too. So we can't wait to see anybody who is in South Florida join our community, and it'll be fun.
Fuck yeah. All right, Jordan, any final thoughts, any final words to the peeps out there?
Just love, 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 love. That's it. Love, love, love.
That's it, man. That's the answer. LOVE. Love is all I need. Fuck yeah. Hey,
Yes,
Jordan,
sir.
man, appreciate you, man. I see you. Thank you for your journey, man. Thank you for being on the pod. And like literally, you covered all of the important things that I could ever say, but you did it in your own personal way, which is true to your testimony, which is powerful, man. So I see you and I appreciate your journey, my brother.
My
Thanks for
brother,
being
thank
on.
you so much. Peace.
Yeah, peace, peace, peace.